start. Here we go.
All right, or Robot and the Bear, Robot and the Bear, Robot and the Bear, Robot and the Bear. Yeah, we're podcasting.
What episode is this?
I have lost count. I've stopped
Okay,
counting
no
years ago.
worries. I'll find. I could find out later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome to
welcome,
Robot and the Bear,
Ro-
episode number 942.
942. We've done 942 of these things.
No, did you believe me?
I would
You,
believe like 94 or something like that.
we might have. We might be somewhere around there. I forgot. I should have counted, but I didn't.
It,
But I could look it up.
it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
But we took a
Anyways.
couple weeks off. We were all traveling in our own
Yep.
respective ways.
Where did you go?
I went to Palm Springs.
All right.
It was, I got a chance to look at Desert X.
Yes.
But that's, it's cool. It's still going on right now. It's this like biannual thing that happens in Palm Springs, and like a bunch of like, contemporary artists do like installations either in the city or in the desert. Um, it's a mixed bag, but I always think it's kind of interesting. I missed the one in 2023, but the first time I went was 2021.
Oh, so you
And,
actually go to those now? Like you're going to be an annual visitor, just about.
a biannual visitor because
Yeah.
it's every other year. It's an excuse to get out of Los Angeles, right?
Right on. And have you heard of any of the artists that show in Desert X?
No, never heard
Okay.
of any of them, but I don't know. It was interesting. I like so they there were on there's an app that you could download when you get there, and it has like all the coordinates of all the installations, and then they also had a couple that were, I guess, from the previous couple years ago or even further back. I don't know. But yeah, some of them, a lot of them are pretty fun, but a lot of them are kind of lame. Like the ones that I had an issue with were the ones that were in the middle of like downtown Palm Springs, where I think they took some guy. One of them was this like a fan blade from one of the you know the the wind
Oh,
things.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah. Wind
turbines, I guess.
turbines. Yeah, it was just a blade from one of them, and they painted it up, and it looked pretty lame. And
But they had to go up there and paint it, right?
no,
Or vice versa. They got a
they
turbine and put it up there.
they took a turbine, painted it on it, and then erected it in front of like the museum. And I was
Oh, I
just kind
see.
of like,
Oh, so it was a
actually,
smaller size. It
yeah, it
wasn't
was.
like those giant ones that are up there.
No, I mean it was a big it was a turbine blade. So I mean
Oh,
it's
really? Oh,
huge, but like you
full
can
size,
see
yeah.
it when you I posted on Robot and the Bear. I think it was a couple images ago. When I said I couldn't be
Right.
able to, and you could see it. I don't know, whatever. But everything else was like either gigantic, like rocks moved into formations, or like there's some Korean guy, I guess, like put this weird refracting, like surface, created like this like spiral installation that you could walk around. And if you I caught it like during magic hour, and when you look through the material at the setting sun, it's just really trippy and whatever. But I don't know, if you are looking for something to do and want to drive 2.5 hours to or 2 hours to Palm Springs.
It already sounds terrible. I mean, yeah, if you just
Well,
want to go all the way to Palm Springs,
I
I
mean,
don't know. Some people love it.
it's a thing to make a weekend of, and it's not too
Sure.
hot right now. Like
Oh yeah,
it's
like Coachella time, or is it Coachella time? It is. It just passed.
Coachella just passed. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like Desert X was probably a mess, around that
Right.
time.
Oh,
Oh, there
you
was
went
this.
before. You went before that then.
Yeah, I went at the
Okay.
end of March, and they
Gotcha.
had like there's this one, like they also have a what you call it, a TikTok page, and there was this woman who created these metal discs that reflect light onto these concrete like looking surfaces that were installed just for it. And there's like mild indentations that you can't really just see, on the metal discs, but they would like refract the light and project words and
Oh,
patterns onto the surfaces. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So if you're
right on.
looking for something outside of
Some
Los
high art
Angeles or something like that. But
installations, I guess. Yeah.
installations, yeah, it's very cool. I don't know.
How do you get to do one of those?
I have no idea
Oh, okay.
because like there was like the other one that I kind of thought was okay, but wasn't really like amazing, or like was another one that was in downtown, and like they just had these gigantic kind of ceramic tiles and it looked like a painting was done on them, and then but it wasn't actually painted on. It looked like it was printed on. And then they just kind of put the tiles up and it created this big image, and it was just kind of like, okay, that was really underwhelming because like it's like when you go to an art fair. When you go to an art fair, the thing that the things that catch your eye are not usually the paintings. What usually catches your eye is the sculptural stuff, the installation stuff, because of its size, because of its presence. Like, the
Yeah.
paintings kind of almost feel like an afterthought, like when you're like walking through them. You're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, cool painting. Oh, look at that sculpture. Oh, look at that gigantic, wood, you know, 15-foot tall sumo wrestler sculpture, made out of
Gotcha.
wood. Like that, I don't know. I kind of find myself being drawn to those things because they're more interesting. However, in the business of doing art, those are the harder moves. Those are the harder things to sell, simply because of the fact that sculpture is not just something that anybody can be able to
Not when
like.
it's at that scale. Where's it
Yeah,
gonna go?
right, exactly. So
Yeah.
it, you
You
know, it,
immediately have to store it. You know, it
mhm.
has to go to storage
Unless you have
right away.
that space and that money, like I mean, there's plenty of people who do, obviously,
Yeah,
but
but usually I think a lot of art collectors buy art and they just store it. It doesn't even go to like on a wall somewhere. It
yeah,
goes into some storage place. That's kind of I think what normally happens.
right,
Big collectors have more art than they have walls, so yeah, it goes straight to some kind of art storage
yeah,
facility. Yeah, that's what
yeah.
usually happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of the things that some of my colleagues and I have been joking about in the most kind of cynical, kind of joking manner is just how much of our works were destroyed in January. And
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Well, Malibu Palisades, Luke for you none.
nice.
But Altadena maybe some.
Yeah, maybe some. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I'm
yeah.
kidding. Who knows?
No, 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 no. Well, the Palisades,
No. I'm sure
I
there's some. I'm sure
I,
there's
I
some.
am very
You just
likely
don't know.
none because
Oh,
my
really?
work isn't. I, I, I don't know. Like,
No, there's like famous rock star people kind of bought your stuff probably. So
mm,
but I don't know who's. How do I know whose house burned down? I don't know.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
a lot of art got destroyed there. So
Yep.
and like if you're going to like save my painting versus say another painting that's worth a lot more than mine, you save the painting that's worth a lot more than mine. So
Yeah. Yours will just get redone really quick. Is that what you're saying? I don't know.
no,
Gosh.
it's just I mean, like, art is an
Right.
investment, right?
Yeah.
So
Do you think like the works that you saw at Desert X could work in a city like Los Angeles? Like, could there
hmm,
be like a thing all around LA, or is just too like, are people just too lame and it's just gonna get destroyed like in one night?
you know, I I think it'll get destroyed.
Yeah,
That
like graffitied on, etc. Right? Like
r-
maybe it works in Desert X because the graffiti guys are not going to drive 2 hours to graffiti on that. I don't know.
hold on, I'm
Oh, you're
trying to.
listening to it on delay. Go, Luke.
Yeah, no, I decided to keep it open just in case we get like I could keep track of the chat as well.
Oh yeah, you
Um,
mean nobody?
yeah, nobody, but you never know. One of the four people, two of whom are you and I, are might have something to contribute or say or
Yep.
chip.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So, but that was that one week. The following week, you went to Japan.
Yeah. We had our giant robot 30-year exhibition in Tokyo at a gallery called Mograg.
How was it?
That was amazing. I think there was a huge crowd for the opening, relatively. I mean, it's a small space. But I realized, so after going to Japan, and I've been to art shows there, etc., but I realize almost every art show, every gallery, they're all small, right? It's just how it is.
Sure.
Like, you think, okay, this is going to be bigger. And I go there and I'm like, oh, it's actually, like, it's not big. You know, it's the same size as the Mograg gallery, which I thought was small, and then they're all small. That's kind of normal. So
kind of like the Murakami gallery in at Nakano.
That one's actually bigger, I think. You know, slightly bigger because it's Murakami. But other than that,
yeah, I guess he's got like that, you know, fuck you money to afford the space.
Yeah, but it's was a lot of fun. Tons of people came out. Had definitely a lot of people. I've heard from the grapevine because they told me, hey, this is kind of normal. And then another person said, oh, no, they said this was busier than normal. So I was like, okay, whatever. I don't know. But maybe something got lost in translation. But it was packed.
But 8 artists from the United States came out for the opening.
Or something like that.
Like that's depending on the size of the space.
There was a lot of there was a lot of people though in general just hanging out and outside the gallery. There's just a lot of people hanging out. They had to keep traffic clear, from the sidewalk.
So on the business,
people who I haven't seen in a long time were there.
Like a lot of locals.
Yeah, people I haven't seen in a long time who live in Tokyo. I was like, oh shit, I haven't seen this person in decades, and they showed up. So yeah, people are coming out for it.
Nice. Any bigwig artist friends of yours? Like no.
No.
Couldn't come
Terada.
out.
Terada.
Okay. Well, Terada.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely like bigwig, big in Japan.
He's in the show though, so that makes kind of helps.
What about what's his? Did you have anything from oh my God, what's his name? I'm blanking out. Not Terada, the other Japanese artist that you usually show annually.
Dehara.
Did he have anything?
Yes.
Did he attend? He's another big one.
No, he was in another city. He lives in another city actually.
Oh, he does.
So yeah, he lives in technically another island. Even that. So.
Oh wow.
But then they did a speak. Like, I don't know, they call it a talk show, basically a panel. Terada and Dehara did a talk about showing a giant robot.
Oh, really?
It happened after I left on the 14th, maybe. Yeah, they did an event, and that was pretty cool because I was kind of like interesting. They actually, their events are actually paid. I mean, it's 1,000 yen. It's not, it's like $7 or whatever it is. But yeah, and they have like a limit of 25 people or something. And but yeah, Dehara and Terada did a whole talk about giant robot, and I was, of course, I wasn't there.
They didn't stream it or anything like that?
No, I guess not. They said they recorded it, but I haven't seen it yet. But that was kind of cool that they decided to pull something off like that. I was just out of nowhere. I was like, hey, what's this? And they said, yeah, we're just decided to do it. I was like, okay, do it.
Oh, it's a bummer that you weren't there to.
And I wouldn't understand it anyway. Probably, I'd be like, what? So, but it's all good. It was, but an honor. Tons of people came out. They said that there's been a lot of people like every day showing up, and because I see it on social media, just people reposting stuff that they, they're there and taking pictures, and no, it's been a lot of fun. And the gallerists are really cool. They're really great folks. It turns out that other artists have visited them now. It's like since like other artists who've traveled actually have stopped in. Like Yumi Yamazaki just went there, for example, I think yesterday or something. So I think James Jean will go today. He's going to visit them today. So it's like, no, there's a bunch, like maybe, a bunch of more artists have gone since. So it's been cool.
Any thoughts on the business of doing arting in Japan?
What does that mean?
Like, I don't know, like what was working there?
Oh, what's working? I have no idea. What do you mean what's working?
Like what's selling?
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
The business. I mean, like, what works
actually,
there?
So what happens is galleries in Japan do not post items with prices on them, right? Like you cannot click and buy in Japan.
Why not?
I don't know.
Is it the culture or it's
probably.
Like they have like
it's not a law.
Weird...
It's not a law. It's just a cultural thing. Yeah, they don't do that.
Oh, really?
It's been like that for a while. So yeah, a lot of folks are like, hey, I like.
Is it because they're trying to keep like art from like getting into grubby Chinese collectors' hands?
I'm sure that they would happy to give it to wealthy Chinese hands who are also grubby. I'm sure that doesn't matter. However, I think that those collectors are kind of gone too, right? Just like they're gone here, the
Sure.
Chinese collectors are not all of a sudden deciding I'm just going to buy stuff from Japan. No, they're also not there.
Yeah, but I mean,
They
like it'd
they have dropped
be.
out.
I mean, like I'm sure to a certain degree it would be cheaper to buy it from Japan because of like like tariffs and whatnot.
What kind of buy what from Japan? Like
Art,
whose art?
art,
Any art?
yeah, like art and
Oh.
yeah, like art and like it,
I
you
mean, if
know,
you want to if you want to Luke Chu art and you're in Japan, you're not going to be able to buy it unless you buy it at Mograg, right? So
yeah, yeah.
that's
Well,
you know what I'm saying. They probably have to buy it in America. So I don't know what they're
but
exactly buying from Japan.
okay, I
But I
guess
mean, they're not buying. Just like they're not buying art in America, they're not buying art in Japan.
so. Okay, well, okay,
Basically, they're gone.
okay, the Chinese are gone, but
Yeah.
like, how about like what works in terms of mediums, prices? Did you notice any kind of trends and what was working, what was selling?
While I was there, not one item was sold.
Really?
Hmm. Yeah. As far
So
as
they
I
don't.
know, not one item was sold while
Do
I was
they
there.
does this gallery have like a preview thing, or like do they? A lot of galleries in the United States
Yeah,
push
of course.
push a preview.
Uh that I don't know. That's on now. I have no idea if they did that. I'm gonna
Mm,
guess no for this show is my guess. I don't think so.
mm, mm.
Yeah,
Have
but
have they
then
been
I think but at the moment it seems like they've sold a fair amount of stuff, including one of your pieces. Which how'd you know that when one of yours sold?
I saw them post something and I saw the little
Yeah.
red dot on
Oh,
there.
okay.
You
Yeah,
know,
one of yours sold.
but hmm, I it was you know yeah. So like when
I
at
mean,
the
I don't know.
opening,
It's not my gallery, so I have no idea like what they're
yeah,
doing. You know, it's like if it was my business, I would know everything about it. But it's not mine at all. It's zero
no,
mine. So
yeah,
I'm not privy to their secrets. You know, I don't know if they are.
right.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that like you would they would at least like try and explain like how it worked, or
Like
what
what
worked
worked?
there. Well,
Oh.
like
Like paint pictures of cats and make it cheap and it's gonna sell, right? Like is that what you mean?
or like I mean like if they have a suggested price range for the work that generally sells out of there, like there's a tier system to galleries, at least in the West.
Yeah, I
There
don't.
are.
I mean, no. They went with if I mean we can't change the prices, right? Like, do you want to make yours half as much and just to make it half as much? No, right?
Well,
You've got to keep your prices consistent.
to a certain degree, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Right.
I have lowered my prices for international
Mm-hmm.
shows
Right.
just
But I
because
mean,
I'm
that's not. I'm not going to do that for you. You know what I mean?
right,
So I
right,
mean, they might have said, "Hey, if Luke's were $100, we would sell it," but they're not $100, so I can't. There's nothing I can really do.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
mean, if I made all of the art of Giant Robot $100, I'll guarantee you I'll sell a lot of it. But it's got to stay at the prices that they are needing to be, right, or nearer them at least.
sure, sure,
Now,
sure.
you know, I have heard some artists say, "Oh yeah, there's different price for Japan because they're in Japan," and I was kind of like, "Oh, that's weird. Like they have a different price in Japan only, and then they raise them everywhere else." And I was like, "Oh, all right."
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
I mean,
I don't. I guess you could do whatever. Artists can do whatever they want, but that sounds kind of wrong to me.
no, I mean, like, okay, I'll give you an example. If a gallery that I want to work with is used to moving works within a particular price range, let's say it's on the lower end, I would create work that I would feel comfortable selling at that price range.
Right. Well, then I would have to
Yeah,
tell you that way in advance, right? Like I would have to tell you that, so you made
sure.
art that would fit that. Yeah.
Well, I
No,
mean,
I didn't
like
do that.
I did. Like I created two pieces that were, you know, priced, you know, quite affordably from, my work.
Right.
And
But then you painted on a something, right? On a
I
photo.
painted I painted on Digiclay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Uh,
your painting space technically is this big on a
I still had to pay
anyway.
for the printing of the Digiclay prints.
What?
So
Oh, you mean a inkjet
yeah,
print?
yeah, but like they are
$1.
archival. They are
$1.
they're a lot more than
Three
that.
dollars.
they're, they're a lot more than that. But
Really? You got ripped off then?
no, I think
Just hit print on the printer. Print.
I don't have a I if I were to buy the printer and everything like that just for this, then the price of the works would be
Dude, I
significantly
could have
higher.
printed that for you for literally $3. $3.
I then I have to drive all the way out to freaking the west side and blah 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 to pick it up.
You would have saved yourself $2
Uh,
because it would have been $5 where you're at. Anyways, no, I'm kidding. But I figure, I mean, for the most part, I think everybody just kind of abided to a size because I think most of the stuff was a specific size, right? Like B4, B5 or something like that, or is it B5,
right.
B6, something like that.
It was
And most people,
A4 to B5. The range
yeah,
is A4 to B5. Yeah.
but it was just like you can pick and made the framing part easier.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, it just makes it a lot easier.
Mm.
But I don't know. I figured that's kind of like I think that was probably the best thing to do. But yeah, some of the prices seem really high to me there, and some of them seem fair, and that's just how it is. I was kind of surprised at some people's art. I was like, oh, this is pricey, and then some of them were not. But then when you transfer it all or translate it to yen, right, you're adding 35% more to your price, basically what it looks like in Japan, right, at the moment. So
Sure.
becomes harder to sell a little bit regardless. So then, I mean, does that mean you lower yourself 35% just to bring it to some kind of normal level? But it's like, no, we're still at a weird time where that yen is, weak and the dollar's stronger.
Right.
Even with whatever, political situation, it changed 7% or something like that. It's not, it's tiny compared to how much it actually moved earlier, like our last year or whatever. So,
Right.
yeah. Either way, though, it feels like they sold a lot of art at this point. Like I've been keeping tabs now, and I'm like, oh shit! From what I thought was zero, they've sold it seems like they've sold a bunch.
Mm.
Yeah, they put a strong effort in. So I
You-
mean, like I know, like for example, Ozabu's piece sold, as did an artist Bakeneko. I think you might have met them, but he lived in L.A. for a bit, then he moved back to Japan.
mm, mm.
Some of the art, like I think Terada's sold, as well as there's a bunch that did sell that were decent ticket priced, So I was kind of thinking, oh, some of it is working anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but it was either way. I mean, either way, I was really stoked to do it. It was, really great kind of a situation. At first, I was thinking, frankly, I was like, oh, these guys are rad, but there's so many other places I'd want to do a show at too, right? And then ultimately, they were such great hosts. I was like, you know what? The next thing I do here is just going to be back there again. Like, I was able to decide that like that night or the day before or the opening. I was like, oh, these folks are just too great. Like they were too awesome. And I was like, yeah, I'd rather just do something here. So
did you
frankly,
have a say in how the work was presented or hung?
Not well. So there's two rooms, right? There's a front room, back room. The guy named Oki is his name. The guy, the husband, I guess, and he was hanging art in the front, but they never made it really clear if I was supposed to hang the stuff in the back room. So Cassia was there, and Cassia is one of the artists who flew out, and she was there, and I was like, we were just like talking, and we're just talking about art and stuff, and then all of a sudden we're just like, are we supposed to hang this thing back here? Like, what are we supposed to do, right? Because they didn't really make it clear. You hang the back room, I'm doing the front room. And then I was just like, after like maybe 30 minutes or an hour, maybe, I was like, you know what? Let's just start doing this because that dude, it's moving too slow. So we ended up hanging the back room for the most part, and no big deal. It was just.
What was the like how I from what I
it's
can
jam
tell?
packed, dude.
Oh really?
It's jam fucking packed. Everything's like 2 rows because there's too much art.
Was I in the back? Did you relegate me to the back?
Oh, you're in a good spot. Yes, you're in the back. The back is not. I mean, There's a front room and a
The
back room,
back
but
is the back is a B. The back is the B room. That's
no,
like
it's good. No, the back's good. Uh, but yeah, no, the back's the part that we hung. It looks even better.
mm, okay, if you say so.
Yeah, well, there's sculptures and stuff in the back, so no,
Yeah.
it worked out.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we were having fun with that, and but yeah, it was fun to actually hang art there. It just had a good feel. I'd never really done any art, like work of art in other countries, so
Mm, mm,
I was like, oh, let's hang stuff, and it was kind of like, all right, we know what we're doing.
mm.
It pretty much was kind of like exactly that. I was like, I just kind of looked at what the other dude was doing in the front room, and I was like, oh, I'll just kind of do what he's doing in the back room, but twice as fast. He was kind of going slow, so careful and slow. When he removes the art, he's going to go, why are there 3 or 4 nail holes in one area? Because it's me going, oh, it's a little off. Boof, another one. And I was like, oh, yeah, this one's good.
Nice.
And he's probably didn't make any mistakes like that. But no, man, that place is great. I pitched an idea for them to do an exhibition in Los Angeles, and then maybe after that, that's 2026, and then 2027, I'll do another show there. So it'll be every other year. That's sort of the plan. So next year in May, they're going to come and do a show at Giant Robot too. And then, after that, 2027, I'll probably do a show out there again.
Excellent.
And it'll probably be a little different, but
do they have a pretty like good stable of artists?
Oh yeah, they have their crew, man. They have their own strange group of people. They have a little more of a colorful hippie thing going on. I mean, hippie's the wrong word, but a little, I guess, psychedelic, not hippie. A little more psychedelic-ish stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's still, they understand what art is. They've been in it for 17 years. So they've been doing it for a while. They've been having gallery shows for 17 years.
17 years, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's a far cry from the 22 of Giant Robot, but you know what I'm saying? But, or whatever it is. But, yeah.
Still, it's like, I mean, like, yeah. To be a gallery that has had, its doors, kept its doors open for over a decade is impressive.
So they have definitely like a families, a bunch of artists they work with, and I met a bunch of them, and they were a lot of them were stoked and cool. I've met some of them before, and yeah, just cool to see them again. Excellent. But yeah, they're all excited. But some of them are, there's a little bit of vinyl toy vibe going on, but a little bit of like illustrative cartoon type of stuff. Cartoon is the wrong word too, but not manga. Well, actually manga, but dark manga or weird manga, but not like cute girly manga. Although there's sometimes that shows up too, but it's always with a weird twist to it. That's kind of their vibe. Yeah. They have interesting style, so I'm in for it, man. I said let's do it next year. So they're going to come out for that. And I told them whatever artists come, they can all stay at my house. Nice. Yeah, I was like, you know what? If a bunch of them come, they can all stay at my house. I'll just get a bunch of air mattresses. Everyone's in.
No, that's
but because it's expensive to come for them to come from Japan here, and then if they had to get a hotel and all that shit, it's way prohibitive expensive for them. And then actually, what they will do is they close their gallery because they actually live right above their gallery, right?
Okay.
Like how in Japan, there's a lot of businesses where it's like the family lives in the back and out front they have a mochi shop, right?
I know. So the first time I went to Japan, I noticed that.
They literally live above. Yeah, they live above their gallery.
In the neighborhoods, you would walk through. If you walk through the neighborhoods, you'll notice a lot of like weird small businesses. Like one, I saw like a travel agency in one. I saw like a I don't know, like Indian, like a curry kind of Indian place, that was like in another, and like see that there was like residencies right above it.
I wonder if I think I'm going to guess that the zoning is different in Japan, whereas here, like if you walk through a neighborhood, there's no stores until you get to a main street, right? Whereas I feel like in Japan, can anyone just open a store anywhere? That's what it feels like. Like you have a basement or you have a garage, you can open a shop in there. That's what it seems to be. In Japan, because I see shit in neighborhoods and I'm like, wait, this is residential, but there's a shop right here that's like somebody's front entrance of their house and they have a shop,
But
I've seen that.
Like you'll find kombinis in like the most random places in
Yeah.
Japan. Like you're
I've seen
walking through
like
the
a slipper
neighborhoods.
shop, right? Like a slipper shop. Like I'm walking and I'm like, this is the front of somebody's place. You know, like how you walk in and you remove your shoes and then you go into a house, like in
Yes,
Japan, right?
yes,
I,
yeah.
I walked in. So one of them I could tell was a shoe place, but I couldn't tell. It was like super Indian, but it had like a little sign and it was super DIY. And you
Mm.
open the thing, you go in. A lady came out from the back, which was her place, and fucking she's selling like handmade slippers,
Oh
you know,
wow.
in her front area, right? So it's like I'm like that's a business, a public business in your house, you know, literally, and it's like here you get shut down. Somebody would get you for that because
Mm.
you can't have nice things like that. You know, somebody would call the police on you, and you'd be like fucked. So they'd be like, "There's too many people walking on my lawn." You know, this person's running a business. People
Mm.
call police on lemonade stands here, so you can't do that stuff.
Yeah. I guess it depends on the neighborhood too in the United States,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Like,
Yep. But I
I
just feel
know,
like it's everywhere in Japan. There's like, you know, there's fucking weird businesses. Anyways, I dig that.
yeah, yeah. No, it's.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that. America is kind of, or certain parts of America, or certain neighborhoods in America are kind of. I could see it potentially turning around because of the fact that it's so expensive to rent commercial spaces.
Yeah.
And why not like run your business out of your house.
Oh, I would love to see that. Wouldn't it be like I made a hypothesis, an idea though. Like let's say you have a neighborhood where it's like fairly decent amount of creative people, and all the people that are making shit in their garage would once a week. I'm sorry, once a year maybe.
Mhm.
They have like a street thing where everyone just opens their garage doors and they have like a little their Etsy shop becomes like a brick and mortar shop, right? And
Yeah.
it's like every three houses there'll be a garage open. This guy's making furniture. This one's making whatever doll houses. This one's like small knit things. It would be rad. I would love to see that just in different neighborhoods where it's just
Right.
like DIYers doing stuff. Or what if one had a play in their garage? I don't know if I'd want to see it, but you know what I'm saying? Or like, more stand-up comedy in their garage, for example, that you could walk by and it's like, oh, there's a
Right.
stand-up comedy show. And then you could just kind of go, nope, I'll go to the thing next door. And you just keep going. Would be rad. But
Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
can't do that.
No. No.
Someone would come and throw a rock here or shoot a gun there or, you know, get
America.
drunk and break something or whatever, or yell stuff out the window. I don't know. Call
Did
the police.
it help that like with I know you about 8 different like artists who were in the show flew out to Japan with you. Did it help that they showed up to the opening, had an opportunity to potentially meet locals? Do you think that might have potentially assisted with the sale of work or
I don't know if that helped with the sale of work. I just know that everybody, probably just about everybody, at least in the least for themselves as artists, met other artists,
mm,
and they probably they created at least some kind of a network in Japan that like if they went back, there's people they would visit, artists that they would share with, etc. Right,
mm,
something like that. But I don't know about helping sell their work. I don't know about that.
right, right.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily, but I do think that like like the gallerists were so like open armed to everybody. They're so cool to everybody that like it's possible they'll get another show there or be in another show there in the future. That's
Mm.
possible too. So
Do you think
there's also that.
do you think that this might be what you call it Asian I don't know God, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm suddenly blanking out on it. Like being super like generous and giving to like being a host. Like I always
Right.
feel like every time I go to Asia, like especially when I'm invited out there, my hosts
Damn. Yeah, I
bend
never get
over
invited out
backward.
there.
It's bullshit.
I got to invite myself out there, but okay. Yeah, no, hosts they're amazing. I mean, if they're really
they bend
hosting you,
over
they're
backwards for you.
yeah.
So well, yeah, and Cozy and Dan are out there.
Yeah. Cozy and
Yeah,
Dan are out there
did you get
doing their
they
thing.
Did you? I mean, you had you had their show just open last
Yep.
weekend.
A week after he got back, or something like that. Was it a week after, or something,
Mhm.
or a week or so after I got back? Yeah, we had their show. 2 weeks after, I guess.
2 weeks.
I don't
You've
know,
already
week
been
and a
back for
half,
like
week
you
and a
haven't been
half.
back. Okay.
Been back a week and a half or more, maybe two, but
Hmm.
just about two. And yeah, their exhibition began. I saw them in Tokyo, and
Hmm.
I think Cassia and Jen Lima went to visit them at their house, their kind of renovated, abandoned house that they purchased. It's like on an
I heard
acre of land, and it looks amazing. I mean, it looks huge too.
I heard they were doing some kind of like maybe Airbnb-ish service. There,
Yeah,
maybe.
somewhat like I don't know what it is, but I know people go there and stay there. I don't know if
Hmm.
strangers go and stay there. I'm not sure about that,
Yeah, I'm
but
not sure about that either.
yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it's quite that way. But yeah, I think they're trying to do some kind of, they want to probably have artists come and stay and hang out and stuff.
Right, right. Do you
Yeah,
know how far away it is from Tokyo?
I believe it's 2 hours by train.
Oh,
I don't know what kind
wow.
of train, if that's a bullet train or what. I have no
Yeah.
idea. Yeah,
Mm.
but I think it's 2 hours.
But how'd the Cozy and Dan show go?
It's okay. Actually, we sold a piece of theirs that is like, that one. What's it called? It was the one that was like a, was it called a super bloom or something like that?
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
was a
yeah.
small piece that has really tiny details. Yeah, that one sold, which is
Oh,
kind of amazing.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that was a
it's a
nice piece.
it's a great paint. It's got the
It's
three
like kind of
naked people in
intense,
there.
right? But it's super detailed and crazy. So yeah, that one. I don't know, that the patience to make that is insane.
Mm.
Like, you'd have to just, it's like dots. It's like tons of dots.
Yeah,
It's pretty
you're
intense.
using double O brushes
It
to
looks
get that
it looks
done.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a fun painting. I really like that painting. And then you had a
Yeah.
bunch of drawings. I
Yeah.
got a chance to like catch the very last like 2 minutes of the opening.
Yeah. Yeah, the lights were just about to go off, and then you showed up, and we're like, "Oh, we're going to be here longer cuz of Luke."
You're welcome. You're welcome. If you were looking for an excuse to not go home, you could always count on me.
What if you missed it? If you one more minute, we would have been gone, literally.
Yeah. Well, then I would have just gone back in my car and gone back to the
Oh,
studio and, kind
okay.
of, you know, just been like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, well, that happened. But
Oh, so they couldn't come, so we had them on a Zoom, or sorry, like the same thing, a Google Meet type of thing on an
mm,
iPad. So anyone who walked in could talk to them, and people did.
oh, that's great.
And they could see people, so they were equally going, "Hey, how are you?" like to people when they would walk by. And people were like, "Oh, I guess they like." A lot of people who didn't know them would think, "Hey, I guess they're just close by somewhere, or they just couldn't be here." And it's like, to find out they were in Japan. People were like, "Oh my God, you're in Japan? Like, what the fuck?" Like, it
Yeah.
was kind of funny. And then they gave tours of their house kind of online. They did it at least twice. They did like a walk through their house and studio, and a walk through their yard, like outside. It was kind of neat
Mm.
because they have a stream that, like, I think borders their property, and they were picking mushrooms, like that they, like I guess they had seeded spores on a bog or something,
Mm.
and they were actually picking the mushrooms so they can eat them.
Oh, that's great.
And but that was
That's
on
cool.
video. It was kind of like they were showing like how they live, and it was kind of that was pretty amazing.
It's nice that they have that we're able to. I mean, it's a bummer they weren't able to be here, but like it's nice that.
Yeah, I guess that was had to do with maybe Kozu's visa status
Mm.
or something. She has a green card, but I don't know. There was some kind of worry about the whole ICE thing and
Mm.
and I guess it wasn't something unique to them. I think they were just kind of like, oh, this has been happening, and it seems like people are hearing stories about that, so they were just like, probably be a bad idea to go right now.
Sure, sure. I
Yeah,
mean, there was.
yeah.
I mean, just was it over the weekend they had, or like maybe was it over this weekend? I don't know. With the German tourists who went to Hawaii, did you hear about that one?
No, I didn't.
No, these is two like girls from Germany who got picked up by ICE because they tried entering Hawaii, and apparently they didn't have an address um, to say where they were going to be staying at, and they got
Oh,
deported. So
well,
you
are they
know,
supposed to have an address?
apparently,
Because I
you
know
know,
when you go to Japan, you're supposed to have an address, right?
right,
Because when you
right.
fill out is it an immigration form, you're supposed to put an address in, which I remember on more than one trip, I forgot about it. And I just
Mm,
looked in, like the airplane magazine. I just
right.
picked out a random address out of the magazine. I was like, there's an address. I just copied that exact address and put it in there. That's what I did. Because I was like, shit,
Wow.
I forgot. Like, I don't know my address. So I just
But
did
where
that.
but where were you going to be staying? Is it because you didn't know where you're going to be staying, or is it
No,
because
there was a hotel, but I didn't have the address for it or the phone number,
oh,
nothing. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put fucking, Japan Tokyo Black Angus restaurant's address in there, and like I'm staying there.
I
They didn't question
imagine.
it, but I just had to put something in there.
Well, I
So
imagine
if
now,
you just
like,
can't leave it blank.
yeah, no, you can't leave it. I can't
That's what I'm
imagine you
saying.
can't leave it blank.
That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
picked a random ass address from the
But like that was
magazine.
that must have been a long time ago, because I kind of
I've done
feel
it
like
twice.
these with the internet and like the connectivity and like
But
maps and
it's still
whatever.
longhand. I think we're still filling that out longhand on the plane.
Mm,
That form is still passed out on the plane, and you're still filling it. Not every plane does that, but
hmm.
American Airlines, for example, they're passing out the paper still, like before
Right,
you land, and that's got to be filled out.
right, right.
So yeah, you
I'm
just got to put in the address. So put in any address. It's not like they check.
I'm so
You know.
used to like filling things out on a tablet when I after I land.
Oh really? Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
can. I
Mm-hmm.
think you can do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I just fill out the paper. You don't have to worry about it when you land.
I think
Plus, I'm
the last two times I went to Singapore had been kind of like weird, because the second to last time I went, I had a huge gash in my thumb, and they want you to do the thumbprint thing, and the gash in
Oh,
my thumb caused a problem. And then when I came back, a couple years later, the gash had healed, but it was still like you know having a hard time reading
wow.
the thumbprint thing. Yeah, it was wild. So uh, yeah. Anyways, so another thing, but where was I going with this? I was trying to lead the conversation in certain directions, but now I'm kind of blanking
Oh, good job, Luke.
out. Hey man, you're like the senpai, so I expect you to take the lead on
No,
these.
nah, nah. Just let you squirm.
Okay, okay.
You're like
Well,
okay.
you
But
know,
I think I think what, but only last thing about I guess the Japan trip. I've been to Japan 20 times, but I think all the artists who went, it was all of their first times, except for I think Lap went like 12 years ago or something, and you know what I mean. I think for a lot of people, it was most everybody. It was their first time going
oh wow.
to Japan. Yeah, so it was like this really out of mind experience because
Did they all
they
coordinate at all?
it was, I mean, not exactly. As soon as they found out, one was already going out there, but yeah, when they found out they were in a show, they're like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna go to Japan," right? And it was
Mhm.
like right away, they're like, "I'm gonna go." So everybody got their tickets on their own, and all
Mm,
kind of some separate from each other. I mean, they might have said we're going, but nobody. I think everybody stayed at their own places, like all separate, different
mm,
places.
mm.
Yeah, but it was kind of amazing the way they just eventually all found their way and figured out what the heck they're doing. Even Dean went.
Yeah, I heard it was Dean's first time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that almost everybody's first time? So yeah, Dean's first time going to Japan, and
I'm shocked.
it's there's a lot of apprehension. People are just tripping out, going, I don't speak Japanese. What am I going to do?" And um, after a while, you realize the barrier to go to Japan has become so low. It's
Yeah.
so easy. But I think just the idea of not, it's like me going to Mexico. I'm like, fuck, man, I don't speak Spanish. I only know bad words. Like, what am I going to do? Right. But ultimately, no, everyone just figured it out within a day or half a day. And
Mhm.
everyone's used the train. Everyone did everything. And it was like, everyone's like, oh shit, that was easy. And
Yeah, yeah.
everyone, as far as I could tell, had a really great time, like on almost an out of mind experience because, hey, you go to Japan, but you have an exhibition there, or you're part of an exhibition, and a big crowd comes, and it's just like, wow, it's a pretty good night, And then of course, the gallerists are great hosts. They took us to a restaurant after, um, then we went to what is it called? Cherry blossom viewing, like a
Oh, was
nighttime
it?
cherry blossom. We had like a cherry
Was the
blossom.
timing right?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
Perfect. So they had a spot that in Ueno Park that's like there's one cherry blossom tree that's not maintained, and that's sort of like their tree that they call it. That's theirs. And no, we had a nighttime party at that tree.
Oh, that's
like cherry
great.
blossom viewing. So we're just all chilling out at the cherry blossoms.
Oh,
And that was late. It was like at 11 to midnight type of thing, and it was after the exhibition. It was really nice.
I've
But yeah,
always wanted to check the cherry blossoms, but
I've never gotten to
whatever.
do that. I've been there with cherry blossoms, but I've never did the like there's people picnicking and chilling out, drinking beer and all this shit and hanging
Mm,
out. Yeah,
doing
I've never done
some
that, so now I have.
like,
And
wow,
they set it up, so it was really cool. But
that's
you go to
cool.
7-Eleven beforehand, and for me, I'm buying gummy candy, which I got you a gift, by the way.
What?
Some gummy candy. Anyway, but yeah,
Yes.
everyone's buying beer and all this stuff. What am I buying? Gummy candy.
Um,
I'm at the cherry blossoms eating gummy candy. So, but yeah, no, it was an amazing time.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, in the
There
past
you go.
3 weeks that since you and I have done a podcast, a lot has been happening with the AI art front.
Really, what happened?
The Ghibli thing has
Oh yeah,
blown up.
yeah. But is it already blown up and already have come down?
Yeah, it's coming down.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely coming down. But I think people are
It
still
blew up
doing
and
it.
it's already on it. It's already on its way down. It's gonna land a big death in about what, a month?
Well, do you think is it because do you think it's because of burnout, or is it? I
Yeah,
mean, like I know that like
yeah. Nobody can.
Ghibli
There'll be something
is trying
better.
to sue, like
Really?
yeah. That I saw like posts about like Ghibli like threatening to sue ChatGPT over it and stuff like that. I
Good luck.
the post that we made for Robot
Yeah.
and the Bears IG was an old photo that we did last year at Anime Expo that I had Ghiblified. I thought it was
Giblified. That's a good
Ghiblified.
word.
That's
Is that the word?
actually yeah. You so you
That's
can
is that the
add,
tag?
you go
Hashtag
into
Giblified.
you just go into ChatGPT and you go like, hey, can you like you literally like type it out and like common speak like, can you Ghiblify
Wow.
a photo for me? It's like sure, and you upload the photo and then it spits it out like a couple minutes later.
So wait, can you do that with? Did you ever do that with the Rodney King beating thing? You're gonna.
I wanted to. That was I think I had talked about that with someone. Like it was my goal.
Me. You mentioned it to me. You said, "Oh, I was going to do the Rodney King thing with Ghibli art." I was like, "That's interesting," because you said that there were other, like the Kennedy assassination, right?
Oh,
And that was somebody Ghiblified
I
that.
saw the Kennedy assassination, and I saw like I think someone did the oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? For the BLM protests.
George Floyd.
I think someone did George Floyd, which is rough. And then like yeah, I tried looking for thumbnails for the Rodney King one, and I just none of them like they're all too like muddled.
Yeah, I mean it's what 200. It's like 200p type of thing.
Right.
That was like a video 8 or something, maybe, or VHS cassette recording, right? Like one of those big cameras.
Yeah, it was probably like
a
from someone's
home,
apartment,
home camera,
looking
right?
over the freeway, because I think it took place on the freeway, and
it was super grainy also.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I
But
never really gave it a try.
But what is the whole thing is are people just Ghiblifying things just for fun, and that's what it was like? That's why it was done, or
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if there was an application for it or something, like an actual, were they going to do something else with it?
Well, I think it also depends on whether or not you're paying for ChatGPT or not.
Are you paying for it?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm
because I wasn't. So you could just get that for free?
Yeah, you could do that for free.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, but like
I didn't even know ChatGPT could spit out images. I thought that had to be like OpenAI or something.
I mean, ChatGPT is OpenAI.
Oh, it is? It's the
Yeah.
same thing?
Hmm.
I didn't know that. Well, just
Yeah.
terminology in the end. It's like,
Right, but I think at least as of like
I
a
guess
couple
Meta
weeks
is
ago,
Facebook, but nobody cares. Who cares?
and it's Instagram. So
X is Twitter.
yeah, but well, that's a little
Also, who
different. That,
cares?
that that's a little different. But
Well,
like,
it's just terminology. It's just some stupid thing that
I'm curious
whatever.
about how you feel about all this as a
Fine with
gallerist.
me. Make more. I mean, it's when it's like that, it doesn't matter. But I guess when it touches home more, it becomes a bigger problem. Like I don't know. Would it be a bummer if someone made Luke Chu stuff and it's just your art style on everything?
I haven't seen anyone try and like. I've had people like like specifically Pat from Monkey King like take photos of our toys and like turn them into giblified you know AI images
Right.
like and like it's interesting. The choices that they make are kind of interesting in the character design because they will always kind of like have the legs taper um
Hmm.
around the ankles, whereas I'm kind of going for this like you know trunkish kind of leg design. So the yeah it, even though it's working from a photograph, it will still kind of tweak, do things that are like
It's in the end, it's
it
some,
takes liberties. Yeah,
but it's bootleggy, and it's kind of the whole thing, right? It's kind of bootleggy. And it works when it's something you recognize, but it doesn't
sure.
work if you don't recognize it. If you're like, I don't know the reference, it doesn't really mean anything at that point. So
Right.
I think it matters to have that reference point, I guess. So
Mm.
that
Well,
kind of matters.
the thing I'm curious about is the animation aspect of it all. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
whether or not
Is there
you
are there those animated too? I've
someone
never seen
did
it.
a Ghibli styled animation called Maga, and
Wow.
it was all like Donald Trump kind of shit, and it gets kind of into the memes of like JD Vance and stuff. Like that JD Vance meme with the like long curly hair and like the super round face, and
No.
you don't.
No, I
uh,
don't really look at memes. Like, I don't pay attention to memes so much. So
oh,
yeah, I have no idea. I probably didn't see it.
I'm tempted to like bring it up now
Yeah.
because it's kind of iconic. It's
Yeah. I missed
um
it.
it's that one. Have you seen this?
I don't think I've seen that. He looks like the
Or
guy from Lost, the big dude from Lost.
yeah, and so like that thing make well that weird version of JD Vance says makes an appearance
Mm.
in the animation, and like the ear shooting thing, and then like at the very end it's all like voiced with in Japanese, which is kind of weird. And then at the end, like he's sitting like like looking off at this at the horizon, or whatever with a Totoro next to him, and talking about how like when you're famous, they'll let you grab them by the pussy.
Oh wow.
But it's in Japanese with subtitles.
Wow, weird.
And I was looking at it, I was like, how did they do that? Like, is that ChatGPT? Is that like what paying for ChatGPT gets you? Like that
I have
level
no
of
idea.
like rendering power? Because I mean, like none of it's really like super animated, like hand drawn animation. It's just like mouths going up and down,
Right.
arms kind of like a cheap ass puppet. But it's I don't know. If you guys haven't seen it yet,
Yeah.
I definitely
I,
recommend checking it out.
I don't hate all the AI stuff. Like some people really hate it all, right? Because I guess it's using reference points that are maybe private, or people's, you know what I mean? Like people's private art or whatever art. I guess it's not private if you post it at all technically, but
Hmm.
yeah, I guess that's kind of the. I mean, I don't know. I guess when it's as wide as it is, it's okay, but yeah, once it hits home, it's probably gonna be a bummer. You know, like when it's you that gets ripped off and somebody else is like earning a buck off of it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I aside from like art movements though, like I haven't like seen anything that rips and maybe Ghibli, like I haven't seen anything that really kind of draws from any specific artist.
Hmm.
Like I haven't seen, like I've asked ChatGPT to like try and, render things in my own style. And I would ask it like, do you know who Luke Chu is? Blah blah blah, and try and get it to kind of like research into what I do, and then I would ask it to, in the hopes of I trained it enough, to research me to kind
Yeah.
of, um, you know, create artwork in my style, and it'll suddenly just kind of like it'll look like it's starting, and then it'll suddenly stop and it'll say like, nope, can't do that because of
Hmm.
copyright and
Oh wow.
licensing and stuff like that. So yeah,
And you can't say, but I'm Luke Chu, so can't you keep going?
I've tried.
Yeah.
I've
It
definitely
just, I mean,
tried.
I don't know how it can believe you, but that's like,
Right, like yeah, I don't know
yeah,
how, there's no way it could like actually like take the time to like
yeah,
validate
not yet.
and say like oh well it is Luke Chu. I guess
Yeah,
he's giving me permission to do this. So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
anyways, well, looks like we're coming up on the hour. Are we?
The Robot and the Bear Power Hour.
That
It is complete. Yeah, we're basically at an hour.
All righty.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow. Hey, we have people watching. Thanks for watching.
yeah, thank you very
Appreciate it.
much.
Yeah.
Tough gummies. Says Mr. Or says Eric, I
Which
believe.
you said you got over the tough gummies. You're sort of like
Yeah, I'm a
you're
little
not
over
into it.
it.
I bought a pack in Japan and ate them, and they were great.
No, I'm sure they were great. They're great when they're
Yeah,
fresh. They're great.
they're
Let's
good.
see.
Gummy
But
candies in Japan are just very good.
look at you, like contributing to the chat while like, you're
No, that's Chat GPT doing it.
it is a robot
It's
GPT.
Chat GPT did it.
Chat
Yeah.
giant robot PT.
Most of the answers are really short. Yeah. Well, I
All
thought you were
right.
watching, so I thought you were also contributing, but I guess not.
It's hard to like. I'm looking to see if like anyone like contributes something that I felt like I could be
Oh,
able to.
but nobody did. So sorry, nobody did. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry,
I think.
Andy.
Oh, yes. Why apprehension? People have apprehension because you're just in a foreign place, right?
Right.
People, that's like going to Japan and you don't speak the language, and you're just like, how the fuck am I going to ride a train? But there's so much in English now. Whereas when I first went to Japan, I remember there was like nothing in English. Like you'd have to know the kanji or what it looked like to know, right?
Right.
So like that's how I memorized. I'm like Shinjuku is that one, Shibuya is that one. Like I can kind of recognize them without reading them, but now it's all in English. Unless you go to a smaller town, it won't be in English still, I think, but Tokyo's in English.
Yeah, Tokyo's in English.
And Google Maps work. Before Google Maps,
Any
it
of
was
the
rough.
larger cities with
It was
international.
rough.
I think the worst one is probably America for people coming who into this country for visiting the United States.
I'm sure it's terrible.
Because
Horrible.
it's exactly. Unless you like go to a specific like town, like say like let's say Los Angeles. If you are Chinese and
And then you realize the train system sucks.
the same train system sucks.
Bus system's not so great.
They don't have any like international like things except for maybe Spanish a little bit.
Unless you go to like Monterey Park and you're
Unless you go to Monterey Park or San Gabriel Valley, then it's.
But yeah, it's definitely you land and you're like, how do I get to Hollywood? And you go to Hollywood and you're like, fuck, this is Hollywood? Right? That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's rough on a traveler for sure.
Yeah, I do not encourage.
Oh, we should stay at the Cecil Hotel in downtown. Okay. It's like, oh.
Every time people come in from out of town, come and visit me from
Shame.
in my at my studio in downtown, you know, uh, I will like I'll mention the Cecil, and their eyes and their ears just perk up. They're like, "Oh, I want to see that
Yeah.
place." Oh,
What's that woman's name who died there? Alyssa something?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's famous, serial killer hotel.
Ugh. Oh, that one woman. I don't know what she had a mental thing, right? She
Yeah, she had
was
a
found in
mental
the
thing.
water tank. Ugh.
Yep. But then the Night Stalker stayed there, and
Shit.
and I think a couple of serial killers stayed there.
Oh my
So,
god.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
but
yeah, we could be better, but you know what? We're the center of the universe. Therefore, they must conform to us. But when we go other places, we want them to conform to us too. Actually,
I don't know,
so
man. I feel like
Japan's pretty good at it. They're pretty nice.
I think the center is slowly creeping back to the middle country. That's
It already
China.
has, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Soon you're gonna have English with like some Chinese, you know, like smattered all over the place. In order to be able to satiate the demands of the Chinese tourists visiting the carcass that is the United States of America.
No, they don't want to come here, do they? They do a little bit, but they go to
It's
Japan first.
it's called Megwa, which means beautiful country. So they want to like see like
They come here and get so disappointed. They're like,
oh,
oh,
oh, absolutely.
fuck. Oh,
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be
like
great.
God, we just left this place.
That Blade Runner language is soon going to become a real thing. It'll. Anyways, all right, guys. I think that's it for tonight.
All right. Thanks much, everybody.
Thank you, and
See you next week.
See you next week.
All right. Robot and the Bear out.